The last part of the parsha, Shlach, talks about the Tzitzit, the fringes, the threads that we have to position at the edge, at the corners of all garments that have four corners. And this principle, this appears, is the third paragraph of the Shema. As you remember, in the Shema, we say, we have three paragraphs. The first paragraph is Shema Yisrael, love your name, love Hashem. The second paragraph is telling us what would happen when we obey the laws and what would happen when we don't obey the laws. And the third paragraph is the parsha of Tzitzit. I want to read it to you. Hashem said to Moshe, speak to the children of Israel, say to them, they shall make themselves tzitzit, fringes, on the corners of their garments throughout the generations. And they shall place upon the tzitzit of each corner a thread of tchelet, of blue, and it shall be for you as a tzitzit. You shall see it and remember the covenant, all the commandments of Hashem, and perform them, and you will not wander or explore after your heart and after your eyes, after which you are always straying. So that you may remember, perform all my commandments, and you shall be holy to your God. I am Hashem your God, who has taken you out of the land of Egypt to be a God unto you. I am Hashem your God. This is the third paragraph of the Shema. And this is the conclusion of the parsha of Shlach. So I want to talk a little bit about this, the concept of tzitzit. First of all, tzitzit comes from the word tzitz. Tzitz is a sprout, something that comes out of something. The garment is a garment, we wear it. But suddenly you have things that are coming out of it, like rays, that are visible, that are noticeable. Just like when you see people wearing tzitzit today and they wear tzitzit out, you know that it's tzitzit. The tzitzit is like a sprouting, like a burst, to tell you, here I am. They almost have a certain loudness to themselves, to that. A tzitzit, as you know, you put 4 strings through a hole, making it 8. In reality, it's 3 threads of white, and then you add 1 more of blue, making the last one, making it around the white. This blue, representing the sky, heaven. Rabbis say that when you look at this, at the tzitzit, you are remember of the heaven, you remember of God. And that's what it says. You remember the commandments. You remember the blue. Remember there's a God in the world, and the God gave you commandments to observe. And that's why the tzitzit is a reminder of all the commandments. But let us go a little bit further. This blue must come from not from anywhere, but only and exclusively for a certain mollusk called the chilazon that is found and was only found outside of the coast of the northern Israel near Phoenicia. Over time, people were not able to find this mollusk, and they started to make blue from vegetable blue, which is incorrect because the tradition said you must do it only from that mollusk. When that happened, when people started to make blue from other sources, the rabbi said, we do not want to encourage people to cheat. So, because they were falsifying the blue. So it's better, they said, everybody should wear only white. And that's why the tzitzit today are all white. The fringes, the color of the garment can be any color, but the fringes have to be white. Now, in the 19th century, a rabbi did discover in that area a mollusk that actually did produce the blue. And some rabbis are questioning whether that is in reality the mollusk that the rabbis have in mind. And they objected to the discovery, and they continue to use the white. And that's why you see today, some people follow that rabbi and they have blue in the tzitzit, and some do not. But let me go into the meaning of the tzitzit. The tzitzit has a word. First of all, the tzitzit has an element is attention to garments, clothing. And the clothing reminds us of God. Now, where did we ever find clothing for the first time appearing in the Bible? Sure, you remember. In the Garden of Eden, after Adam and Eve sin, God gives them garments. So the garment is a reminder that our animal phase in us needs to be covered with something higher. Because by the animalistic aspect alone, we cannot connect. To create a moral personality, we needed the garment. After we sinned, we needed the garment to be able to cover us, to create a restraint on our urges and our desires. And now the Bible is very, reminds us of the sin in a very subtle way, because it says, "And you shall not wander after your heart and after your eyes, after which you stray." What is the eye? The eye and the heart. We see things that are pleasurable, beautiful things, beautiful women, beautiful men. And as we see them, we may have a tendency to imagine what would be like. And these imaginations can be sometimes immoral. The eyes and the heart, what we call the wandering eye, can be the source of a lot of sin. And let us remember, and that is one of the reasons why I emphasize this word today. The word lo taturu, do not wander, is the same word that we use in the spies. The spy says, go latur, vayaturu. They also were wandering, they were exploring. And we see here that the exploration can be something negative unless it is controlled by a certain proper perspective and proper philosophy. So let's see again. My eyes alone can desire things. My heart can imagine things which are going to take me away from morality, away from Hashem. I need the tzitzit to remind me that there is a God, that I need to have time to divine thoughts and not to vain temptations. And let us see the connection between this story of not going after our eyes and the story of Adam. Because what did Adam do? Adam also, he saw the fruit, and by seeing the fruit, he said the fruit is good. And that was the beginning of the sin. And I think this is a metaphor for all our deviations, all our backslidings, all the errors in our lives. Adam's sin was in calling something that was bad, because Hashem said not to touch it, calling it good. And things would really go, like obeying Hashem, following His commandments. That was bad. That is the grave error of Adam. To judge what is good only by what we like. Good is not what we like. Good is an intrinsic, objective quality outside of us. I may want something, it doesn't make it good. I may be resistant to something, it doesn't make it bad. When we believe that the categories are created by a higher authority, then we begin to have respect for that. And that's the connection between Adam and the Tzitzit. Both in Adam's sin and in our case, Hashem is telling us, do not confuse what's good with what you like. The threats sprouting from the garments are announcements that there are things which are more important and more valuable than that which you yourself can do. A moral calling, that God protects us. Sin is the result of the wandering eyes. As Adam did, and to call good that which is only what we like. The higher judgment is to submit to the definitions of good and bad according to the dictates of Hashem, not according to us. So the garment, in the case of Adam, covers that animalistic phase of calling only what we like as good. And it reminds us that there's as a higher authority. And in the case of our creation, to remind us that God is the one who decides our fate and we should be guided by Hashem and by His commandments. So it is interesting that when we wear the tzitzit, we are connected with something higher. Where the mental energy fails to be directed at thoughts of goodness and truth, then thoughts of sin and impurity invade us. When we look at the tzitzit, it reminds us that there is something greater. And that's why the blue particularly had that message. It's interesting that a story, there was once a person entering a room to steal something. He opened the door and he goes into the room and he sees a beautiful piece of jewelry. And as he's about to pick up the jewelry and lift up his arm, his tzitzit flies over. And he sees the tzitzit in front of him. He remembers, what am I doing? That is what the Torah says. Look at the tzitzit and you'll remember. Remember there is a God in the world. Remember there are commandments that we have to follow. And that is just, and you should not wander, just like the Adam wandered into what he liked. Don't wander what you like. Wander or follow only the commandments that Hashem gave us. I want to end with this thought. And it's very important because people, especially who are just becoming religious, have to struggle with this issue. It would appear that following all that I want, I will be happier. Why shouldn't I be happy with what I want? I should follow something that I don't want, that I don't like. That should make me happy. That seems to be more burdensome, more difficult. The paradox is that it's not so. Very often, people who only follow what they like end up being very unhappy and fail at many things in life. But people who follow objective things that are good actually are the people who are really happy in the end. And we see this through our life. Many circumstances, whether it's in study, in business, in family life, people who just do whatever they want end up badly. You know, today we have sexual travesties and deviations and all kinds of engagements. We have drugs. There's so many immorality in the world. People follow what they want, and you see they're not happy. The real people who are happy are the people who have a discipline, who follow a certain norm. Those who wear the tzitzit are the people who live happier and better lives. And that's what this parasha begins with Tur and ends with Tur. The Torah tells us When you explore, do not explore just with your eyes. Explore with your heart, with your brain, with a belief in God, with the things, with a obeying what is really important.